Hello, and welcome to Michigan Progressive's Guide to the Michigan Democratic Party. In this video, we'll examine key foundations of democratic rules and the two principles on which MDP rules are based, then demonstrate some best practices for applying the rules in the real world. Small organizations are often run without formal rules. When there are just a few people involved, they can work out decisions based on trust built of personal relationships, while ensuring everyone has equal decision-making power. That is, while ensuring the organization makes decisions democratically. In a large organization, few people know each other well, and most people don't know each other at all. In an organization of more than a few people who know each other, formal rules create a basis for trust across large groups of members. An organization that makes decisions through personal relationships is limited to a small circle of decision makers. That's an oligarchy, not a democracy. Formal rules set expectations for the behavior of members, for persons in positions of authority, for units of the organization, and for the organization as a whole. Just reading the rules should explain how things are supposed to work, making it possible for anyone, regardless of their personal relationships, to have equal decision-making power in the organization. In a large organization, formal rules are key to ensuring the organization behaves democratically at all levels. In order to serve as the basis for growing trust, the rules must meet some minimum criteria. The rules must be intentionally fair. The rules must be followed as intended. The rules must be enforced fairly according to their intent. The rules must be understood by enough members to ensure they are enforced fairly. The rules as adopted by the SCC are explicitly based on two guiding principles, from the preamble to the MDP rules. Quote, "We, the members of the Democratic State Central Committee of Michigan, do hereby establish and adopt these rules of the Michigan Democratic Party based on the following principles. The principle of people, giving service to the needs and aspirations of all people. The principle of democracy, working for equal opportunity for access and full participation of all elements of society in all political and government processes." Unquote. The rules are an instruction manual for making these aspirations real. To make the founding principles real in the Michigan Democratic Party, the rules construct, piece by piece, process by process, a decision-making system that intends to ensure all elements of society equal opportunity, access, and participation in party decision-making. Traditions, rules, or interpretations contrary to these two principles are automatically suspect. Where the rules are unclear, these two principles are the map the rules themselves provide to understand their intent. Here's an example. The general public has the right, under MDP rules, to timely notice of all meetings in every unit of the party. The definition of timely is not specified. Let's see if we can figure out what it ought to be. In our society, many people have little control over their daily schedules. Many jobs, disproportionately low-paying jobs, require at least 2 weeks' notice to get a day off, and employers aren't required to honor any particular request. The principle of democracy requires all elements of society have equal opportunity for access and participation. Under these conditions, just 2 weeks' notice will certainly deny many people the opportunity to participate due to their economic circumstances. Until working conditions improve across our society, perhaps 30 days is a reasonable balance between the democratic mandate to ensure equal access to decision-making and the practical need for the organization to function effectively. Democratic best practice is to give as much notice as possible. Many party units establish a regular monthly meeting set for the same day, time, and location, giving members and non-members alike a schedule they can rely on far into the future. Members should take care their units follow democratic best practices as guided by the founding principles. Other rules allow some boards and committees to call emergency meetings when unforeseen events require a rapid response. These provisions are directly at odds with the founding principles. If misused or abused, they could in practice deeply violate the founding principles of equal access and full participation for all, even while remaining technically in compliance with the letter of some particular rule. As a democratic best practice, members should take care to ensure powers intended for special or emergency circumstances are not used to circumvent the decision-making process. The founding principles, not the specific rules, are the yardstick against which to measure compliance in practice. MDP rules are instructions mapping key ideas from their founding principles onto the real world. For example, many MDP rules explicitly ban discrimination on the grounds of actual or perceived race, color, creed, sex, age, national origin, economic status, religion, ethnic identity, ancestry, marital status, sexual orientation, gender identity, physical appearance, or disability. This is not a complete list of everyone guaranteed equal rights under MDP rules. The principles on which the rules are based require equal opportunity, access, and participation to all elements of society, not just those listed specifically in the rules. We didn't need this list, which explicitly bans discrimination on the basis of economic status, to understand that in our society, 2 weeks' notice of meetings isn't sufficient to comply with the principle of democracy. Specific rules emphasize and illustrate the two foundational principles with important examples from contemporary society, without limiting the application of the founding principles to the particular examples listed in the rules. No rule exists in isolation. Each rule is part of a wider pattern, intended to build towards the aspirations of the founding principles. Here's an example of rules building on each other. MDP rules require each unit to publicize the time, date, location, detailed procedures that will be used, and qualifications to run for each office to be filled at each upcoming election. The rules specify these details must be published in time for both current and prospective members to vote and run for office at the publicized election. A prospective member isn't a member. Prospective members become new members when they join the party. New members are denied voting rights for 30 days. New members are barred from running for or holding office for 30 days. Therefore, in order to publicize these details in time for prospective members to vote and run for office, these details must be publicized at least 30 days in advance of the election. Democratic best practice is to publicize the details of each election as far in advance as possible. Knowing how an upcoming election will be run is critical to voting and to participating to run for office at the election. Party units have options for running elections. The choices your unit makes can change who is eligible for which offices or how a slate of candidates must be prepared. We'll explain the election options and how they work in a future video. Each election, make sure to ask your unit for the specific election requirements and procedures. As a democratic best practice, units should consider using the same set of choices every election and adding the details to their rules, establishing a common practice that members can rely on year after year. MDP units should take care to consider the principle of democracy when deciding how far in advance to publicize their upcoming elections. 30 days is the minimum requirement. However, 30 days allows prospective members less than a single day to join the party and be eligible to participate. Is that equal opportunity for access and full participation for all members of society? Perhaps democratic best practice is 45 days. Members should take care their units are working to ensure the rules are followed according to their intent. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notification of future videos. If you like the work we're doing, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Your contribution gives you access to bonus content like extended episodes of our podcast, exclusive one-on-one interviews with special guests, and supports free videos like this series on the Michigan Democratic Party. Find us at patreon.com/MichiganProgressive or visit us at our website, michiganprogressive.com.